The moment you get comfortable, you don't grow. And today, actually, in my morning call session with my guys, I was telling them the same thing. I was telling them, the moment you feel that you have everything under control, that's the moment you stop growing.
This is Fridays Are for Closers podcast.
Learn the skills that it takes to get paid.
Welcome to the Fridays Are for Closers podcast. My name is Raul Velasquez, and I'm here with my partner,
Juan Carlos Garcia, and we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that salespeople make when they get involved in real estate.
And not just in real estate, man, in the financial industry, in the mortgage industry. I think overall, the 5 biggest mistakes that salespeople make in any industry. Why?
Because sales are sales. No matter what product you move, sales are sales. And that's the field of sales that we're talking about here, not just real estate.
And I think that's where people misunderstand sales, right? They think like, well, I'm not in sales, Raul. I think everybody's in sales.
Correct.
Like everybody's selling something.
At some point.
My daughter this morning was selling me into for me to stay home with her.
That's right.
She was trying to sell me like, Daddy, don't go to the studio, stay home at the pool. So we have to remember that everybody's always selling something.
You know why? Because everybody is always needing or wanting something, and sales is in direct relationship with feelings, with moods, with a state of mind. Even my dog is selling me something every day. He wants me to feed him.
I mean, here's one thing I realize, and when it comes to salespeople, man, we love to be sold.
That's
like
right.
When I go to a store, I mean, I just bought a car this year. I mean, I wasn't shopping. I think like salespeople, we don't go shopping. We go to buy.
That's right.
Right? And that's
right.
the difference. If people understand that the sales psychology, like people are always selling something, I think that we'll get rid of the stigma that sales is not good. Like sales is sleazy or slimy or like. So my intention for this podcast is for people to understand that salespeople make mistakes. We're human. We make mistakes. But if you want to be a closer, you gotta learn from those mistakes.
Not only that, when we are involved in sales, in the world of sales, we understand what a salesperson goes through to become good. And I gotta tell you, every time I am sold by an expert salesperson,
We appreciate that.
any product, I really appreciate
Yes.
it, and I buy it even stronger because I respect the quality of the person that is doing the sell to me.
I think, and that's a psychology. People don't want to be sold. People want to buy.
That's right.
And in the primal mind, we want to be seduced. I want to be seduced. I want you to tell me what the product is. And even though I'm buying, like I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle. So I think as a closer, like we appreciate the closers. We appreciate those guys who are in the grind with us.
That's right.
All right, so let's get into the topic for today's topic because I have some notes, man. The first time I have notes. Did you
No
realize
problem.
that?
That's important.
First time, especially because one of the mistakes that we have here says that you shouldn't wing it. So I don't want to wing it today.
That's right.
I want to make sure I'm prepared. So the number one mistake that we were, going over some notes this morning is, salespeople get comfortable.
Unfortunately.
They get comfortable, man. I can't tell you how many times my sales team, I have to constantly remind them to keep on hunting.
It is.
So what do you do, Juan Carlos, not to get comfortable? What is the one thing that you do not to get out of your comfort zone?
I just follow the processes. I gotta tell you, the moment you get comfortable, you don't grow. The moment you get comfortable, you don't grow. And today, actually, in my morning call session with my guys, I was telling them the same thing. I was telling them, the moment you feel that you have everything under control, that's the moment you stop growing. You need to keep yourself up always with things that make you uncomfortable. If making calls and prospecting makes you comfortable or get to the point that you are comfortable, then try something different, a different type of prospecting. Could be personal, could be knocking doors, could be different ways, not just making phone calls. So the moment you get comfortable, you don't grow. And that's what I put in my mind.
And I think it's easy for people to get comfortable, especially if you have big ticket items, like in real estate, right? You close a couple $1 million and you get that paycheck.
Yeah.
And people get comfortable because they think, okay, I'll be able to do that. I'm going to do that again. And how many times I've been through that because I close a big deal, I get comfortable. So one of the things that I do is I constantly put myself in that feeling of not having the next sale.
That's
like psychologically, I'm thinking I need to close this because my life depends on this, right? So like I have to, is a difference between desperation and being hungry. I think that a lot of people mistake that salespeople by being desperate, they're hungry. But the reality is that being hungry is that desire to hunt. Desire to hunch.
When I started in the business 30 years ago, I have something very applicable to what you were talking about. I was brought up in a business in the type of sales that were very hardcore sales. Okay, it was real estate sales in Florida. And our manager used to say, always remember this, guys, you are good until your last sell. You are as good as your last sell, which means when I make that $2 million deal that I think that I'm going to go on vacation and do that, I'm going to think every time that I'm as good as that last sell. I got to keep going.
But see, that's the difference, because I see some sales guys, right, that they go on vacation, they close a big deal, they come back, and then they're in desperate mode.
That's right.
And all of a sudden they're in scarcity.
They have
nothing in the pipeline. They have
That's
no
right.
closings, and all of a sudden they're in desperate mode. And if you operate out of desperation, people feel it.
Yes.
And then that moment of being comfortable, the product of being comfortable is becoming desperate.
That's right.
So what I do is I catch myself being comfortable, and I stay hungry. So I'm staying hungry so I don't become desperate. And it's worked for me because I'm hungry all the time. I tell my guys, like, I'm hungrier than you. I wanna do more than what you guys do, even though like I'm teaching you, but I'm constantly looking to stay on that hungry mode.
I gotta tell you, it's a syndrome. Getting comfortable and getting desperate is a syndrome. Okay, and it happens to many salespeople unless they have a plan and unless they follow certain processes. What happens is that we go through the first couple of processes, we get results, and then we forget about those two processes.
Well, that's the second biggest mistake.
That's right.
The second one is that you start winging it.
That's right. You
start getting
making changes to the basics.
Too comfortable. You think that you're good. You close those big deals, or you have a good month, or you make money, and then you start getting comfortable, and then you start winging it.
That's right.
You stop following the process. Man, I have a great framework that I teach my salespeople and I teach my guys to follow. And I could tell the moment that a guy is not producing at a certain level, I could tell that they're not following the process.
Of course, because they have the tendency to forget where they were and how they got to the point that they are now. And because they forget that, then they don't proceed accordingly.
So I don't believe in scripts. I mean, I teach my guys to follow scripts, but I'd rather have them follow framework. I think framing is more important than scripts, but especially the framing of the process of closing. I mean, I tell my guys all the time, and what I teach my clients and when I teach my salespeople is that you're always closing. Closing doesn't mean that you are collecting money or that you close a deal. Closing means that you took your client through that process and you help them figure out if that product that you're selling is for you or not.
That's right.
That somebody at the end of the day says yes or no. There is no maybe. There is no I'm going to think about it. Yeah, you know, those people that say I'm going to think about it, you know that the chances of them coming back are very small.
Yeah, very small. Actually, it's an excuse, which is most people, they don't want to offend you, so they tell you I'm going to think about it. And I always, when they ask me, I want to think about it, I ask them, I look at them in the eye and I say, what is this exactly that you want to think about? And then I bring the objections to them as questions.
And that's where the closer starts.
That's right.
See, the salesperson at that moment, you already know. Okay, they'll take it. I'm going to think about it. Sure, think about it. Take your time. But that's where the skillful closer comes in.
That's right.
And that's where the art of seduction comes in.
I'm a last resort. If I don't really find out what is it that they want to think about, I give them my Rolex watch and tell them, okay, keep my Rolex. And when you when you know what you're going to think about, you bring it back.
That's a good strategy. I trust you enough. Keep my Rolex. When's your appointment? Tomorrow? I'll wait for you in the office tomorrow.
That's right.
Bring my Rolex back. I don't know if I trust people with a Rolex that good. That's a good
It's
one.
just an excuse. And the sooner you identify that as being an excuse and a set of different objections, the bottom line is you gotta isolate the objection. And the problem is that I want to think about it as a big group of objections. Go down to the ones that you think they're thinking about.
To the core.
Then isolate it and work with that objection.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Following the framework.
Yes.
Because we have a framework. And when there's somebody saying, I'm going to think about it, then we go through the framework of help them through the excuse, the fear. Because all it is fear.
That's right.
Because if you're on the phone already with somebody that wants a product, your job is to stand by your product and help them overcome that fear. And if you believe in your product and you know that your product is going to help them, you have to do everything in your power to help them overcome that fear so they could take action.
And as we discussed before in a couple of our chapters on this program, you have to match the value or the benefits of your product with the cost. The moment you match them both, there is no objection. They just go for it.
And then you can help them overcome that fear. Because the fear of loss. Do I lose money or do I lose time?
Going back to the scripts, just to give you a quick my point. The scripts, I look at the scripts as the roadmap. Okay, they are no more than that. That doesn't mean you have to follow scripts to the T. It means you have a roadmap and you can make your shortcuts to get to that point, whichever way you want. But unless you know where you're going and how you're going to get there, you cannot make the changes that you want to make to
And
create
the
that
mistake
framework.
and the mistake that people who are winging it,
Yes.
they let the customer take them into their own ride.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, you spend an hour and a half talking about things that don't matter
That's right.
instead of helping them come back to the road to get to the destination.
That's right.
It's a
And
good insight.
time is money. When you make a phone call, you shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 minutes to make an appointment.
Yeah, and-
Otherwise, you're wasting time.
And as you could tell, if these people can't feel the energy that we have talking about sales, because we
Yeah.
love sales, we love this conversation, we love marketing, we love business.
Yes.
I think people stop having fun, and that's a mistake that they make. They think sales
that's another
or business becomes boring. And yeah, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it could become boring. I had a
It
client
becomes trivial.
had a client yesterday. He says he runs a $50 million company and he's selling things that he's not longer passionate about.
Right.
And I said, no, it's not that you're not passionate about it. It's that you stop having fun.
That's right.
You started, you follow a process. Then after a while, it wasn't fun. It's like, dating a woman and is going through the same thing and you stop having fun. Like I've been married almost 20 years. My wife and I go to dates and we have fun because we try different things.
That's right.
And I think that's where the mistake that salespeople make is that they stop having fun in the process.
You know what it is? When you become bored with what you're doing, is because you are not evolving. You are not making
growing.
changes. You are not growing, and that's the problem. Again, becoming complacent. You need to evolve. You need to make changes, even if the same product that you manage, let's say for 30 years, like in my case, I sell real estate for 30 years, but I'm always evolving. I'm always making changes. I'm always trying different things. That does not let me get bored with what I'm doing. It keeps me challenged. And that's how you grow in the business.
Look at this, doing this podcast is out of your comfort zone, right? You and I have been working for the past
pretty
year.
comfortable, though.
I mean, I'm telling you, you've evolved tremendously, man, because I've been doing video and content for the past 4 years, so I'm good. But, the amount of evolution that I've seen in you in the last 1 year that you and I have been working together and creating content, man, it's been amazing.
Thank you.
You trusted the process.
Yes.
You broke through your fears, and now you're bringing value to the community by sharing your gifts, 30 plus years in sales.
Yes.
And that is when you start having fun. Because now this is fun. This is not work. This is fun.
That's
I
right.
mean, we come in and we come to the studio and we just have these conversations like you and I having coffee. I think that's how we started this podcast. You and I were having coffee and I was having water. Because if I drink coffee, man, I'm going to be wired for the whole day, right? And we started with the idea of having, I think it was Friday, like coffee for closers.
That's
podcast.
right.
I don't know.
And
I
then
don't drink.
it turned into be Friday for closers.
I said, I don't drink coffee, so let's do
Every Friday,
Fridays.
10:30.
Fridays are for closers, and then that's when we decided to launch this podcast.
That's right.
So we decided to have fun in the process, and that's what we're missing right now. To become a closer, you have to have fun.
You have to be you. You have to have fun. You have to identify yourself with that image, that persona that you portrayed, which has to be you. You're authentic.
Yeah.
That's when you close.
Yeah. So the fourth mistake that they make is that they think that feedback is criticism.
No,
I mean, I'm
at
dealing
all.
right now with one of my guys, and I'm constantly giving feedback, but he feels that he's being criticized. And I know that a lot of people, they have their own insecurities, and that just creates more awareness of insecurities. But if you're going to become a closer, you have to be open for feedback, man. I mean, how many times at the beginning of my career, like you give me feedback, you're like, man, this is not how you do it. This is how you have to be done, how it has to be done. This is what you need to do. And I just took it as, okay, I'm going to execute. I became better. But I think that now we have a culture of salespeople that are very weak emotionally.
I agree with you. Actually, this morning I had the same situation with one of the persons that is working with me. I had to give her some serious, hardcore feedback, and she didn't take it very, very well. But listen, I have nothing to lose at this point because she's not doing what I expected her to do, and if that's the case, maybe we don't need her.
And that's the choice that they have to make.
That's right.
Sales is not for everyone.
That's
Closing is not for everyone. I tell all my guys, it's like, if you have to, don't take things personal.
Never.
If a client says no, he's not saying no to you. He's saying no to maybe his fears. Maybe he's saying yes to his excuses and no to the part of breaking through. So don't take it personal. Feedback is not personal. Feedback is actually helping you to get better.
When a client says no to you, he's saying, no, I'm not sold yet.
Yeah.
That's what it says. No, I'm not sold yet. That means keep going.
And that means eventually you have to figure out how to market to that guy,
That's
how to
right.
market to the person. And I tell you right now, I've been doing this for many years. Been in sales, I think, more than I've been married. 21 years in sales.
That's right.
I never took a sale personal.
Never.
So that means that when I did a big sale, I didn't make that like if it was. I didn't take that personal as I didn't take my losses or my wins personal. I always knew there was a process, and that helped me keep my sanity. When the market fell, that actually helped me keep my sanity.
Yes.
Because I realized that, listen, I'm just as good as the last sale, but I'm getting better in the process. And to become a closer, you can't take feedback as criticism. I mean, unless you have a boss that's constantly like, I mean, I'm seeing, people in sales positions that they just like put their thumbs down on their guys and they don't want them to grow. But that's a different story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a good mentor, somebody who really cares about you, and I think that most organizations, they have the manager of the CEO that's invested on their salespeople, because if they don't grow, they don't make any money.
That's right.
I mean, sales is the blood of a company.
It affects everybody.
You got to invest. I mean, I double down on my sales process because I want to make sure that every single one of my guys knows that, one, I'm doing the same thing that they're doing. Like I'm cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
The second thing is, to be a closer, you have to have thick skin. You can't take things personal. You can't think that criticism is about you. You have to take the feedback so you can grow.
Not only that, when you really see a sales organization that is successful, they normally are led by a manager. They're led by a manager or a mentor that is tough. That is a tough guy. I mean, you can't turn people around if you are not tough. If you don't tell them things how they are. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't take it the right way. You gotta be tough. You gotta go to the point, and you gotta tell them the criticism. Make it really.
You gotta be direct. You gotta be real. You can't be around the bush, especially in a closed environment. We become sometimes too sensitive when it comes to giving some real feedback, and we don't help that salesperson, or we hinder them from getting better. Because we're around the bush, and instead of being direct and saying, "Hey, this is what I see. If you want to make more money, you have to do it this way." Because if I see you doing it the other way, you're not going to get anywhere.
And for the most part, when there is no success in sales, it's because whoever is trying to do it is not following the process. Trust me, I'm going to tell you. I got a couple of people working with me that are doing well. And then I got a couple of people that are not doing well. The ones that are not doing well are not following the process, are not learning the scripts, are not training themselves, are not practicing. How can you become successful if you don't do what you need to do? Then the other ones that are doing it are successful, are getting results,
Because they take the feedback. They don't take it as criticism.
That's right.
So the number one mistake that I think that salespeople make that we should address is they take their influence for granted.
Oh, their sphere of influence. Oh my goodness, that is the biggest asset we all have. Our sphere of influence, whether it's big or small, it's
relationships.
Influence.
I mean, sales at the end is relationships.
Good relationships.
I mean, you and I could probably go back to like a handful of clients that have made us millions of dollars because we kept that relationship.
That's correct.
And I think that like we're so busy hunting new clients, new leads, that we forget to nurture that relationships that we have.
Yes, and to recap a little bit, I think that's the biggest mistake salespeople make, which is not taking their personal sphere of influence as the biggest asset they can have. Even though other people will think.
I think in real estate, that is probably the beginning. Like if you start in real estate, I think you have to, you have your sphere of influence that you have to really put your name out there with them.
That's right.
You have to really tell them, okay,
and then
I'm in the business, so I could get some business out of it.
That's right.
But even going further than that, relationships and nurturing your existing clients.
Yes.
Because that's also a mistake that they make, is like, okay, I have a client, I already got paid on it, next to the new client. No, that client right there, and that's what I'm talking about. We made millions of dollars with just, a handful of clients because we nurtured that relationship.
That's correct.
And I think that's, I tell my guys, like, you want to hunt every single day, or it's easier to hunt once and to nurture that relationship, so you don't have to continue to hunt every day.
All the time. Correct. And we have the tendency to have the habit of hunting every day, forgetting about what we have already built. We left it there and we abandon it.
So one of the things that I do, and I want to get you feedback of what you do to nurture relationships, is that I'm always asking, what else can I do to bring value?
Correct.
Like, what else can I do to bring value? Like right now, for example, with my coaching clients, we have a leadership coming up in September, and I'm bringing value. Like, what else can I do? I'm constantly asking for feedback to my clients. I'm like, what do you need? And then I gather all the information, I gather all the intel, and then I create value so they could feel that I care. And I think that's in any relationship, and especially in sales, they need to feel that you actually care for that individual, for your customers.
You have to innovate constantly. You have to innovate. You have to keep people informed. You have to become the expert in the area where your clients are. I mean, but it's really up to you. What you do about the relationships is what makes them grow or diminish. It's about what you do.
I think you're probably one of the few guys that I know that you take the relationship to a whole different level. Like you,
Correct.
I have like people who actually invite you to weddings. They invite you to their kids' graduation. Like
Yes,
how
yes.
do you nurture that type of relationship? Like how do you go deeper in those relationships?
Very interesting. And you know something? There is no secret with it. You go from being the real estate broker that sold you the house to be their friend. To show them that you care more or farther, you know.
That it's not just a transaction.
It's not just
it's
one more transaction, it's a relationship.
It's a relationship. And I think that in my coaching business, when I talk about, the guys who I coach, really I look at them as brothers. I look at them, the group that we hang around with, these guys, like we've gone deep with each other.
That's right.
The fact that it's not just about like, I'm coaching you or you're part of the brotherhood or you're part of the network. It's like, man, we truly care. And I think that is the difference when you talk about you cross that line of just being a client, but actually become a friend, a family, and saying, hey, man, I care about your well-being. Even if you don't buy my product, I still care about you.
That's correct.
That transfers to a deeper relationship.
I actually had a couple of situations in the past 6 months where I was very close to do business with certain individuals, and for one reason or another, it didn't get done. But because I kept the relationship and I showed them that beyond wanting to buy or sell a house with them, I was interested in their lives. I was interested in their problems. Now, after 6 months, they're coming back to me, and now they're doing business with me. You see? Some people need that kind of shift in their mind in order to trust you, in order to really feel that you are the right man or person, better said, to do the work for them.
I think that's where we don't focus on the long-term value of the relationship.
Boom.
We're looking for the short term. We're looking for like, okay, what can you do? What can I sell you right now? What can I get from you right now?
Yes.
We don't look at long term. We look at our relationship. We've been 20 years partners together in multiple, ventures, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you would have thought of, I would have thought in the short term relationship, we probably would have never done business long term.
Right.
And I think that's where most people are missing relationships. That is not about what can I do or what can I get for you right now. It's nurture that relationship. Like see what is possible 5, even 10 years from now.
That's right.
I just got a meeting with one of our mentors, Jay Abraham.
That's right.
The past 5 years, you sent a couple of emails here, a couple of emails there, and then now we're going to be able to probably do something together in the Spanish community, a relationship that we nurture for years. And that is where it pays off when you're constantly following up, constantly being in people's faces, bringing value.
That's
not
right.
just selling, bringing value. So a closer thinks long term.
That's correct.
All right, so let's recap this because I think we give them a lot of value today. Number one is don't get comfortable.
That's
Don't
right.
get comfortable. Comfortable is death for the closer. The second one is don't wing it. Don't wing it. What do they have to do, Juan Carlos?
They have to follow the process.
Follow
they have
the process.
It is already set. It's already invented. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
And have fun, man. Have fun.
Have fun.
Like, you stop having fun, you're gonna die if you don't have fun in your business.
And nurture your relationships. Make sure that you understand that your relationships are your golden nugget.
Yeah. Before that, don't take criticism. Don't take feedback as criticism.
That's right.
Don't take it personal.
Never.
And your relationships, man, that is the key. Not just in business. I think that's in life. Period, man. I think that's it. If you can keep relationships in business, you're not gonna be able to keep relationships in life. So I think that's the reason that you and I have been able to do something together because like we value relationships. We value relationships more than we value money.
That's right.
And if you value relationships more than you value money, you're never gonna have
You'll have both.
You'll have both, and you're never gonna have people that will not come back to you because eventually they will come back to you to do business.
Yeah, for good service and for good relationships.
That's it. So follow us in iTunes, follow us in SoundCloud, follow us in iHeartRadio. Make sure that you subscribe, make sure you comment, send us an email and feedback about what you want to hear next. We're here to bring you value because Fridays
are for closers. I'll see you soon.